The official channels of NASA and the Vatican do not reveal simple scientific coordination. They reveal a parallel protocol. They detail a secret negotiation concerning the psychological and spiritual management of humanity facing first contact with extraterrestrial life. Representatives from both entities discussed the role the Catholic Church would play in the human response. But who truly dictated this strategy? The history of space exploration is often presented as a purely scientific and military quest. Documents from the International Astronomical Union describe technical procedures for analyzing any detection. NASA follows protocols focused on collecting technical data and defensive reactions. Yet, beneath this technical facade, another dimension was active. Declassified documents suggest that responding to a major existential event required a moral and spiritual dimension. Who, within the highest spheres, began to consider this duality? The years 2009 and 2014 marked turning points where discussion shifted from theory to strategy. But what was the real intention behind these meetings? The gap between the physics of the stars and the psychology of humanity is immense. Official protocols focus on technology, leaving the existential impact aside. The files suggest that managing such a revelation required a response architecture that went beyond military capabilities. Diplomatic channels, declassified, point toward an attempt to integrate a spiritual dimension into the global response. But was this integration a collaboration or a subordination? This detail, seemingly insignificant, would change everything. The official version maintains a strict separation of domains. NASA and the American government agencies always insisted on a strictly scientific and military response to potential contacts. Protocols are defined by objectives of defense and technical exploration. The Catholic Church acts as a spiritual and religious entity. It has no direct involvement in government defense or space exploration protocols. This position is maintained as absolute neutrality toward cosmic discoveries. This is the official line. This is what they demanded we accept. But the diplomatic cables obtained via FOIA reveal a different reality. The documents suggest a structured collaboration. The Vatican played a role as a spiritual mediator to manage the psychological impact of such a discovery. It created a bridge between science and spirituality. The government claims the Church has no direct involvement in defense protocols. But the exchanges suggest this separation was merely a facade. The government claims X. But document Y states Z. The communications indicate that managing panic and spiritual reconciliation were considered primary steps. This implied a moral responsibility for humanity. NASA focused on the how. The Vatican prepared the why. Who negotiated this role? Since when does this collaboration actually exist? This detail, seemingly insignificant, would change everything. The diplomatic communications from 2009 and 2014 established the framework for this parallel discussion. These cables, found in the archives of the Black Vault, show direct exchanges between NASA representatives and ecclesiastical sources. They detail preparations for the psychological and moral management of humanity facing an extraterrestrial revelation. The documents indicate that the role of the Church was established as a global spiritual regulator. The discussions explicitly mention the necessity of managing the psychological impact of the discovery, moving beyond mere physical data. One internal document references the creation of a framework for spiritual reconciliation to accompany a potential transition. The figures and dates, though not quantified in military terms, reveal a long-term, holistic response plan. The existence of these exchanges confirms an attempt to forge a global response, fusing science and spirituality to manage a cosmic crisis. This detail, seemingly insignificant, changed everything. The secret protocol was not a mere academic discussion. It was a strategy designed to manage a crisis of cosmic magnitude. The coordination between science and spirituality sought a unified response. Technology and morality were meant to work together in concert. The Church, positioned as a universal spiritual authority, was envisioned as the psychological regulator of humanity. NASA, through these channels, participated in a strategy that extended beyond scientific boundaries. They sought to integrate a spiritual dimension into their communication strategy. This secret, maintained through diplomatic channels, reveals an attempt to harmonize material knowledge with spiritual perception in the face of the cosmic unknown. Today, this protocol echoes current concerns about information management and the search for meaning. Current debates surrounding UAPs and extraterrestrial communication amplify the need for a more complete framework. Testimonies and new reports reveal that the absence of a clear protocol leaves a vacuum. Institutions attempt to fill this void with fragmented interpretations. Why does this secret remain protected? If diplomatic channels negotiated a spiritual response, what is the true nature of the hidden protocols that govern our perception of the universe? If science and faith work together, what is the boundary between knowledge and belief? And if what we have seen is merely the surface? This protocol is officially closed. What replaced it? That is a conversation for another day.